Hello readers, this is Derek Green from Sepultura.
Resistance kept me going wrong. Now we trespass the line of
The concept for the new album, Kairos, which was we worked on with Roy Z. He was the producer. It was our first time working with him. And we worked on the album in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in the studio that we've worked at before, Trauma Studios. The concept of the album was really writing an album to capture the live sensation that we have on stage. With Roy Z, he understood this was like his goal to really capture this. And also behind the concept of the album was to have an album that was based on the history of Sepultura and a lot of the things that we went through in order to get to where we are today. So basically we went in with some songs written that we wrote on the road, so it gave that live feeling, I think, about the album, which was something we never done before. Another process, a procedure that took place was, for me on vocals, was my first time actually working in the control room with Roy or with the producer, and it added to the entire process of doing vocals, just for the fact that we could reply quickly to each other and communicate much better. So there were a lot of really good ideas that were put out there. Roy had experience working with Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford, and he had a lot of input and ideas, and so we really got together and decided that we really wanted to not make it too complex of an album, really strip it to the basics of what really makes Sepultura. And I believe we're able to capture that goal and create an interesting album, not really relying on trying to redo the past, but actually do stuff that was really influenced from the past.
going back, but I'm right here. Now we've been all done.
Well, we switched to Nuclear Blast because of our other label, SPV, were having their own difficulties, and Nuclear Blast approached us, and it was really an opportunity that we couldn't pass up, just for the fact that they really know a lot about metal, and they knew a lot about where we were coming from and where we needed to be and need to go. So working with them has been really a tremendous opportunity. We've been able to elaborate ideas and move forward, and that's what we plan on doing for everything in the future. And we were very fortunate to be able to collaborate with them, and we feel that they're doing a great job. We picked two cover songs, Ministry and Prodigy, for the fact that they weren't expected. We like to do songs that are a little more challenging and not do something in the same genre of music. Makes it more interesting for us and more of a challenge. And there's also other influence of music that we have that people probably don't know. And they have a lot of influence from our past. And we felt that these songs are pretty heavy, and we wanted to sepulturize these songs, really put our own feel to it. And it was a lot of fun to do, and the songs actually are in the driving, relentless style that's on this new album, so it really fit in well, I think, with our own tracks.
When the treatment face the facts, breaks the gap between the gaps. Every blast that starts your mind, you're there, and only there you are.
Well, for me, I like different styles of music. There's no way I could possibly just listen to metal. That would be absolutely like insanity, listening to one style of music. We're all artists in the band, so we like to explore different styles of music, and there are many things that we're brought up listening to. For me, I love classical music, I love blues, I love jazz, I love classic rock, I love hip-hop. I really enjoy good music by artists who are believable and credible. For me, the albums that got me into heavier music or rock music or Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Rush, and these are the basic bands that really got me into the heavier style of music. But for me, I'm always open to listen to new things, even pop music from, you know, like Michael Jackson to, you know, Jackson 5, things like that have always been a huge influence, and they always will be in my life. I believe with the internet and illegal downloads and the lack of CD sales is due to the fact of illegal downloading and the fact that people are obtaining music free. There's no doubt about it. There's been such a big change, and so quickly. It's had a mass effect on people getting laid off in the music industry, and also affecting the artists tremendously. I don't think people really understand how the ramifications of what they're doing. I at first was really excited about the idea of downloading, you know, things for free, and I decided that I wouldn't really be doing that anymore. Just seeing how it affects myself personally and how it affects other people I know who are artists around me. I think it's incredible, the CDs and vinyl that people are actually putting out nowadays, because they're putting more effort into it, and it becomes more of a collectible item. And for me, I have no problem signing anything that a person buys from me and it's truly appreciated, or at least the person that is going to download. You know, it would be great for those people to come to the show and to support the band, so some type of support if they're enjoying the music. So I think there's no way to really stop it. I just think you have to be clever in what you're doing in your craft, and just, you know, really concentrate on the music at the same time, and hope that people will really be into your stuff or really understand what's going on with the music you're writing. Well, I was raised in North America in United States, and I moved to Europe for a short time in Amsterdam, and then I moved to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and lived there for almost 10 years, and now I'm living in Prague. And there's tremendous culture differences. Definitely with language, it was the first thing that was the biggest barrier from moving from the States to Brazil. I never spoke Portuguese. I had to learn Portuguese. I lived alone for most of the time being there. It was difficult to get around because I had to do a lot of things by myself, and a lot of people actually recognized the band, so people would come up on the street or just start talking to me in Portuguese, and it made me want to learn the language even more to understand the environment and what's going on. I think in Europe there are more people that definitely speak English, especially when you're living in Amsterdam or a place like that. But in Prague, it's a more Eastern European country, even though it's directly in the center of Europe almost. But I feel it's a little bit harder to communicate in English. Depending on who you're talking to, a younger generation, it might be easier, but they don't have a chance to really practice the language. So I feel, I mean, I know that I have to learn Czech, another language, and so that's always a challenge. But it's a good challenge, you know. I'm really looking. I like learning languages, and it's a great feeling when people realize that you're understanding their culture. And I think the tremendous difference is economics. Brazil is a rich country. They have a lot of rich produces and different exports, but at the same time, you have millions and millions of people that are extremely poor. I don't think anybody in the U.S. can really realize how it is, or in Europe. Those are the huge contrasts that you'd see at first. There's definitely a bigger mix of people in Brazil than you would say Europe or in Prague. That's a tremendous difference, even in the U.S., but the U.S. is becoming even more mixed now, and especially in the middle of the U.S. I think the economy is much stronger in Europe. People have a better way of life in Europe. There seems to be, without a doubt, an older history, so there's a lot more culture and things that are going on. At the same time, there's a lot of new things that are coming out of the U.S. that people really are always looking for. These ideas, these fresh ideas. And at the same time, in South America, it's growing fast and trying to catch up. And I believe it is, you know, in South America, especially Brazil, there's a lot going on there as far as the World Cup coming there, the Olympics. So that's put a big change in the economy there and the way that people are thinking about themselves. I think Brazilians are feeling prouder about themselves. And so this is a tremendous change, and I feel that Americans are feeling less proud about themselves because of the economy being so bad at the moment. And so it's, you know, there's definitely a lot of differences and similarities, but I love living, you know, in Europe and also in Brazil, and I miss a lot of things about the U.S. I think in the news you don't really see, you see like the people who are rich are getting even richer in Brazil, but at the same time it's moving so slowly with the amount of people who are, the mass amount of people that aren't receiving any of the benefits of getting richer. They can go through the same problems that happened in the U.S. with the bubble, which I believe is happening right now in Brazil, where it's completely overpriced and there's no middle ground for anything. And people are using a lot of credit to buy things that they can't really afford. So it's also a scary time, just because people feel that the economy is so great and they're just going out and spending a lot of money. But at the same time, I don't think they're really making that much more money. And they really have to be careful not to have the same thing that happened in the U.S. And there's still many problems. I think the biggest problem is education, and it's a lot, and that's the one that a lot of people don't really want to look at, and well, especially in the U.S. and definitely in Brazil. I think it's the #1 priority is education, so people really understand what's going on in their own country, and to understand what's going on around them and how people are using the country in many ways. And so I think once people have an understanding of what's going on, then they won't accept a lot of the things that do go on, and there can be a huge change, you know, for all the people, not just for a small minority of very rich people.